Hello and welcome to the Thresher Football Show. I'm Dan Page alongside interim head coach at Bethel College, Dalen Markham. The Threshers fresh off a road loss to Friends, 28-0, and fall to 4-5 on the season, and have now lost 5 games in a row, rather, after the 4-0 start on the year. And definitely an interesting experience every single week here, as just 3 games remain on the 2024 schedule. But just going back to the Friends game, Coach, oh my goodness, what a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally was the whole day.
Yeah, for real.
We get there at 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And thinking, hey, we're going to kick off at 11. And then, I mean, it's just constant. We're going to play in this amount of time, and then everybody takes their pads off.
Yep.
Over and over. I mean, I think you guys handled it the best you could.
Yeah, so it was a very long day. The game was over at 6, so there 8:30 to 6. That's all day. So we handled it well, man. It kind of was weird, kind of telling my guys, hey, we're going at 2 o'clock. They all get amped up again. They start adrenaline, start pumping. Oh, hey, man, we're going to another 30-minute delay because of this, another 30-minute because of that. But yeah, we handled it well. We came out and played our best the way we could that night.
Yeah, I mean, just again, the rain and everything. I mean, the field, it took so long for just the water to get off the field. I mean, it was almost completely covered at one point before the teams actually went out there and played the game. And then when you get to halftime, there's another lightning delay.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
Who knew if you were going to come back out on the field and finish it?
Yeah, for real.
But, I mean, I know all of your guys wanted to go out there and finish that game the best they could. I mean, it was a 14-0 game at halftime, and definitely you guys definitely wanted to turn things around. And, I mean, it was a really defensive game for the most part. I know their offense continued to struggle. I mean, shut out for the first time this season.
Yeah.
And the Friends was the only team to shut us out last year as well. So it's definitely something. I mean, they have a very good defense, very well coached defense. They brought a lot of pressure and did fairly well against the pass. I mean, it's so hard to throw in those wet conditions.
Yeah, it really
bottom
was.
line. And so, I mean, Ethan Cook got his first start as a college quarterback as a sophomore, and so many things going on at the same time. And it really, I mean, you just walk away from it thinking, man, I mean, we tried to handle it the best you could, but still kind of frustrating to walk away with the loss.
It's always tough losing like that, especially getting shut out on offense. I know. Then he was frustrated after the game, just wondering what can he do to get better at this. Just kind of self-reflection again. That's the same for everybody. We gave up 28 points on defense, so can't really say too much about on our side of the ball. But yeah, it's always tough to lose, man. But you got to just keep pushing forward and keep your heads up. Yeah,
it seemed like from the get-go it was another circumstances similar to last year's kind of weather-influenced game where, it was all about ball position at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you guys, had some struggles with the kickoff return on the initial, and then, ended up on that north side of the field for a very long time.
Yep.
And, Friends capitalized with a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was definitely difficult to get back out of that scenario and work your way down the field. There was a couple drives there. We were able to throw the ball to Josiah Buller. And run the ball a couple times with Toriano, but for the most part it was just there were some penalties. You guys got all the way down to the 7-yard line at one point, and I think that was in the first half even, and backed up, and it was, I mean, you guys had a real chance to score there, and it just kind of turned into something else entirely. But obviously your defense, I think, did pretty well for the most part. There were some things, there's some moments where I think the second half was a little bit more frustrating than the first half, in my eyes at least. I mean, you coach the defense, so but because of, some of the things that they gave up, some big runs and things like that. And the first half, I feel like that didn't really happen that much. It was kept it fairly manageable for most of the time, and a lot of steady drives versus that big play aspect to it. But Tate Seabolt gets hurt there, and you didn't have him in the second half of the game.
No.
And what's the deal with him right now?
So we think he broke his ankle, like a part of his ankle. So yeah, he may probably end up missing the next 2 games.
Yeah, and I think I had the play on the video.
Yeah.
And I was like, I looked at it again, and I was like, man, it didn't look like much.
Yeah, really, but he just fell on top of it himself, kind of. It was like at a weird angle, and he just fell on top of it. Like, it was like that, and it just fell on him. So.
And the field was so weird because the field was holding water so much.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you made a dent in the field, it was still water coming up and everything, despite all the drainage and everything. And it's so hard to cut.
Yeah, it was.
Because he had to over pursue on that play and then cut back when the running back came back inside.
Yeah.
And it was tough to correct.
He couldn't stop himself, he said. So
yeah,
very unfortunate losing Taylor.
Hey, but I mean, if you're going to go out, you go out going 100% nonetheless. And, I'm guessing that's pretty much it for the rest of his season unless he gets it up, in these last few games. I mean, he is who he is.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he's very much like his brother and, doesn't want that to be his last game.
Yeah, he's tough for sure. He's very tough. So we'll see. Who knows, right?
But I think you got some great play with guys stepping up. James Goff came in and ended up with 13 tackles to lead the team. 8 of those solo. Noah Miller doing exactly what he needed to do with 12 tackles. Josh Santos came up big in moments as well. He ended up with 10 tackles on the game. But and so many different things. You can count on your defense, but a lot of times, anybody that walks away from that game is thinking if your offense scores a couple touchdowns, it's not a 28-0 game. It's probably 21-14 or a little bit more than manageable than that scenario because you take away the time that they have the ball so much, and it's a different kind of ball game because I think your defense, for the most part, did pretty well. I mean, it's tough to say that when you give up 4 touchdowns in a game. Yeah. But there's so many things that you have to adapt to. I know your front guys knew exactly what was coming to them the entire time. They knew what to expect, and I felt like you guys did a really good job getting off their slots, blocking a lot of times to contain that outside edge.
Yeah, that was a point of emphasis, trying to limit the big plays. I know they had a couple in there, but man, we just try to limit the big plays and make them drive the whole field. Especially in those conditions, as you see, they kind of fumbled a lot, but the ball just kept bouncing right to them. So maybe if a ball bounces in our hands, we scoop and score. Who knows what could have happened? Yeah,
I mean, even when you had the ball, it just seemed like it was so hard to handle. Yeah, and it's kind of frustrating because you look at the other sideline and they didn't have as much trouble holding on to the football. I mean, other than a couple plays like that. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely frustrating for your team and that go. And I mean, nonetheless, DJ came in for a couple drives there, had a nice 55-yard run that set you up in good territory. I thought you guys were going to go down and actually score and perhaps finish off that drive, but Friends did a good job of adapting and made it definitely difficult at times. But unfortunately, the Threshers fall 28-0 to the Falcons, and I think everybody walked away from that game glad it was in the past more than anything, just because of just the overall day. It was just, it's just a very long day.
Very, very long.
And so many, circumstances. I mean, it was almost cabin fever there for a little bit. You just didn't want to be inside there, and I'm going to flat out say it was not comfortable. No. At all for anyone.
Yeah, it was weird conditions. It was like we were wet and cold, and then coming inside at halftime and having the delay, then you go out even colder inside because your clothes were all wet. So it was miserable.
Yeah. By the way, how you finally wring out all your clothes and shoes and all that from the weekend?
Yeah, I did finally. They finally got a little dry. I had to wear the rain jacket again today because it was raining all day here.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I mean, it's just crazy, when you get in those circumstances. And, you guys had some nice rain gear, I'll mention. But by the way, I mean, it's so crazy that, probably 4 of the last 5 times Bethel has played Friends, it's rained.
Yeah. Yeah, that don't make no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't at all. I mean, I think 2021 was the only time that it didn't.
Yeah, for real.
And it was a night game. But 2020, it was cold, wet, rainy. You know, we can go on from there. But it had something about it. I mean, we'll see what next year has.
Yeah, for real.
Nonetheless, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely a tough pill to swallow for a game, and you just kind of made the most out of it for the most part for the Threshers. And all you can do is put that in the past and look forward. And you got the Bethany Swedes this week. But just kind of wrapping up the last week of play in the KCAC with just 2 weeks left of the regular season guaranteed. And who knows who's going to go to the postseason as far as the Kessinger division goes. I think the Bissell is somewhat decided.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I never know though.
I think Kansas Wesleyan has it in check, and you know, when they were 2-4 going into divisional play, and I heard somebody say maybe the reason why their coach leaving was Kansas Wesleyan football doesn't go 2-4, but I was like, they could very well sweep their division.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even say, you can't even. I thought it was too premature, but that's just my thoughts. They ended up winning 28-14 over Tabor at home, and that was a big win for them because Kansas Wesleyan the rest of the year they get Ottawa, who has 1 win, and then Sterling, who's won their last 2 games.
Yeah. So
I mean, we'll see what happens here for the rest of the 2024 campaign. Mentioning Sterling, they won 26-25 at St. Mary. Got the nice victory there. And then in other Bissell Division action, Avila defeats Ottawa 26-13. In the Kessinger Division, Southwestern at home went 62-7 against Bethany. No surprise whatsoever. Their offense continues to be dominant. And the game that we all had our eyes on was in Missouri, and that was Evangel versus McPherson, and the Bulldogs win it 34-27. And man, they ever since that week 0 loss, they have won every single game.
Yeah, they've been on a tear.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. They're 8-1, but they're undefeated in the division.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you, it's going to get hard for them because they still haven't played Friends until they still haven't played Southwestern. So that is going to be very, very difficult. They got to play the Falcons
this week
at home, and then they actually get both of them at home, believe it or not. So it's going to be crazy here the next couple weeks to see what happens in the division overall, because I mean it could be one of those tie scenarios again.
Who knows?
And I know the whole shape and format with things right now is a really hot topic and debatable.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it at that for the most part. I mean, everybody knows what it is, and you just kind of have to live with it. I mean,
for real.
We've learned that lesson here.
The hard way.
So kind of looking at this week's games, the Threshers hosting Bethany as the Swedes come to town. And we think all the games will be 1 o'clock this week. Who knows with the weather and things like that. So
yeah, true.
Sterling is hosting Avila. I mentioned McPherson hosting Friends. Kansas Wesleyan hosting Ottawa. And Tabor hosting St. Mary. And then another big one is Evangel and Southwestern are playing in Nixa, Missouri. So the other 2 games in the Kessinger division, I mean, are going to be huge.
Yeah, big time.
Absolutely huge. And I can't wait to see how the weekend shakes down. And the Threshers playing their final 2 games of the season at home, which is definitely friendly based on the way things have been and coming off a very, very different road football game in their last one out. But still on the season, you guys definitely have some great players. Again, Noah and Tate each have 74 tackles plus, doing a great job on the season. Each have an interception, believe it or not, on the year as well. So, guys continuing to play well. I know Robin Neely's been counting his tackles.
Yeah, for real. He has been.
He has 50 on the season. Colton McCarty with 46 and Ernest Ferrier with 40. Josh Sears ended up getting an interception against Friends, one of the few that Cavante Baker's thrown this season. Roderick Edwards with 3 interceptions on the year. Jared Givens with 2. It's been interesting to see, a lot of those guys continue to do well on defense. On offense, Toriana Richardson still rushed the ball for 758 yards on the season, and DJ Sears has still passed for over 1,000 in the games that he's played in this year. So, still some good things happening. But still with 2 games left, who knows what's in store for the rest of the season as Bethany comes to town, and then Evangel comes to town on Senior Day for the Threshers here these next couple weeks. But, we talked about Bethany a little bit a few weeks ago, how their defense had, 18 interceptions at the time. I don't know if that's gone up or not. I haven't had a chance to pay attention to it.
I think they got 19 now. I checked today.
But still pretty good team. I know you guys probably have had a chance to look at them a little bit coming into the game, and definitely seems like a game that you guys can win.
Yeah, hopefully. So the past 2 years have actually been pretty good games, and then like last year it was like 63 in the third quarter, and we scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to win it. So it's always a good game between us the past 2 years. So hopefully we can come out on top. But yeah, there's some good things on defense for sure. They play a lot of man coverage and they're good at it. So our receivers are going to have to come up big this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting to follow. I mentioned before we even started this show, it's 5 wins in a row in the series against Bethany. You have to go back to 2018, was a 31-28 loss for the Thresher program, but 34-14, 38-0, 69-6, 42-7, and last year's 27-3 ball game. But that 27, most of that 27 came late in the game.
It did.
And definitely threw the ball well against them. And it'd be interesting to see how you guys could do that against them this season in this year's game. I know, different things. They're getting better as a program. They've won some games this year that kind of surprised some people.
Yeah.
And, yes, it's tough. The division is just so tough.
Yeah,
it's tough to get out of the depths of a division when you're trying to build. This is what is the second year now for the coach there. I mean, it's definitely difficult to build out of. But they won some games in the first half of the season that surprised some people. I mean, didn't they beat Tabor?
Yeah, they did beat Tabor.
So I mean, it's just you don't know what team you're going to get from them.
Yeah, they have scored some points this year too. I think on Sterling they scored 35, on Tabor scored 35. So they can have the ability to score some points on there, and then the defense just plays lights out sometimes.
And no doubt they're probably looking at your team right now and saying, hey, we have a chance.
Yeah.
For the first time in a while to get a really big W here.
Yeah.
And go in and, wreck whatever you guys are trying to do. But, I know you guys take them seriously as an opponent and not a game to overlook.
No, definitely not. Especially not this year, because we're kind of struggling this year too. So trying to figure some things out. But, man, we both have the ability to go out there and make some plays. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting game this week. It's a 1 o'clock kick from Thresher Stadium. You can watch it on the KCAC network as the Threshers and the Swedes go at it. You guys have won. The program has won 13 of the last 19 meetings against Bethany, despite all that, in 5 straight, and 6-3 at home in that time. So it should be a really good game. I mean, last year it was 3-3 at halftime.
Yeah, so it was a good game.
Yeah, 3-3 at halftime, 6-3 after 3 quarters, and then 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Trayvon Madison and 1 to Kenya McMillan.
Yeah.
In that game was the decider. But other than that, I mean, it was just kind of beating your head against the wall for the most part. I felt like in that game because there was a lot of penalties.
Yeah, I remember that game. Yeah.
Yeah, probably 20 plus.
Easy.
Yeah, easily. And I think you guys got a little bit better with that, with penalties and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't call a lot on Saturday, perhaps. Maybe, I remember we just ran into the officials in the hallway, and they're like, "You're not going to throw any flags today, are you?" They're like, no, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in this most recent game, but hopefully that's better and you guys get on the right foot. I mean, you're obviously, you're trying. There's so many guys, 20 plus seniors and things like that, but you also have 40 plus freshmen and everything in between.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to end this year on a positive note for the guys that are going on their way out, and also build towards the future with some of the younger guys as well. How big of a balance is that for you?
Honestly, man, it's not hard to balance because a lot of the young guys are kind of redshirting right now, so they're kind of really not playing. But man, for the seniors, man, we emphasizing trying to win this week and try to get better each day, just because they want to be a good example for the younger guys and stuff like that. So they want to go out. They also want to go out and win the next 2 games for sure. So that's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I said it last week, and I think maybe before, but when you have the threat of playing your last football game, perhaps right around the corner, it's definitely something you want to control how that ends.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely, I mean, from experience, I know from a long time ago experience, I mean, it's definitely heartbreaking when the career is over and you just stuck to the sidelines. And even as a coach for you, it's just like so many times you just you wish you could go out there and do the things that you're trying to coach them to do for them.
Yeah, for real. It's that easy.
I know your assistants that are just most recently played between Grant and Cade and probably even Cam a little bit. I mean, those guys just want to go out there and do it themselves at times for the most part. But it's definitely kind of frustrating. And I mean, it's definitely been a challenging year for you guys to try to overcome some of the things. But nonetheless, I mean, so many guys that you brought here to the program, and definitely want to end on a positive note together. It's been since 2018 is the last quote unquote losing season that this program has had. So that these guys do not want to be that group.
No, we don't. Hopefully, we're not that group. We have 2 more games left to make the change. Really on us to go out there and just play better and do what we do every day in practice.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be huge to win this week, and it'd be even bigger to win on Senior Day as well. Against Evangel, because we know how good they are. But who knows what magic is left in store?
That is true. For
the old threshing stone over the next couple weeks. We'll be curious to find out, to see when you've got nowhere to go but up. I mean, that's telling for the most part.
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, the Thresher's taking on Bethany this week. It's like a 1:00 kick from Thresher Stadium. Come on out. Let's hope it doesn't rain, right? I mean,
for real.
It'll probably be in the 60s, maybe upper 50s. So, get your long sleeves out. We certainly have. It's beginning to be that kind of year, but definitely a crazy week with so many things going on on the Bethel campus between basketball, football, soccer, volleyball. I mean, everything going on. And it's going to be just a nuts week. And the crossover season is definitely hard to manage for the folks that are in charge of the athletic administration. So a big thank you to all of them, Tim, Stacy, and Jared for managing that here this next couple weeks. Because after that, I mean, after football in the fall is over, it's just kind of just basketball and indoor track, and then you got your dance and your cheer seasons and things like that. And I mean, it's going to be, who knows, where we'll be and everything when it's all said and done. And I know that you definitely took a kind of a big chance at this opportunity to step in and be the interim coach, and I know it's not something that you don't take lightly whatsoever, because I know you're determined as a coach to kind of grow from this, and whatever happens, it's been I guess, what are some of the things that you probably learned the most this season, just being the head coach?
I really kind of just learned kind of what things I need to get better at, just because it's right now I'm coaching the corners too, kind of being helping out with game plan and stuff. So it's really kind of tough doing like head coach, I guess, kind of duties and stuff like that. So just kind of just getting better at planning my time and stuff, kind of just setting time aside to do this, what I need to do for this hour or so, and then I'll go help do something else. So really just kind of my time balance, kind of getting better at planning ahead, because before I just like go day by day, but I actually got to like plan out stuff to do. So it's kind of, that's really what I need to get better at, those two things.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this first run through and everything, and you try to do things the way that is kind of molded before to some degree, but you also try to make your own impression on it at the same time, because to be genuine with things. And we definitely seen that, and you allowing your assistants to step up and be those guys that get some things done for you, no matter who it is. But it's been great to see some of the growth of some of the younger coaches. I mean, so many new coaches to the staff and everything, and some of the guys, had less than 5 years coaching, probably less than 3 for some of them, and those experiences. So, when you have such a young staff, probably I would wager one of the youngest, if not the youngest, in the conference.
Most probably so. Probably so.
Yeah, I mean, to go out and do what you guys have done, to give it everything you got, and sure you're going to learn lessons from this season nonetheless. And I mean, it's just been interesting to follow, and I know that no matter what happens, you guys have given it everything you have.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we have like 3 or 4 first-year coaches on staff. So it's been a learning experience for everybody. We're all just kind of finding our way, kind of how we work together and stuff like that. So I think, man, we getting better and better each week with our game planning stuff, just stuff like that, and learning how we can just communicate with each other on the sidelines here and there. So I think we'll be getting better and better. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, I mean, no matter what happens here in the next few weeks and next month or whatever, I feel like we've had a really good relationship with all your guys, myself included, and I really enjoy some of the conversations I've had getting to know the Bethel coaching staff this season. But it's, wrapping up this week's show, just 2 games left in the Thresher season, both at home. Coming out and support them. I mean, these student athletes get everything they have just to, go out there, and, it doesn't matter what the result is. And, that's the telling of a real, fan or supporter is, who are you going to be there for them when they need you the most? And, we hope to see you there this week. If not, you can watch on the KCAC network, 1 o'clock kickoff from Thresher Stadium as the Threshers take on the Bethany Swedes. So for Coach Dalen Markham this week, I'm Dan Page, and a busy time telling you to roll on.